Today on the podcast, we have Dakota, an amazing floral designer, a recent bride, as well as the new owner of a business called Dressed by Dakota. And so this is a 3-part podcast where we're sharing her journey from wedding vendor to bride to second business owner. So join us. Dakota, welcome. I'm so glad you have agreed to do this with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here and truly a surprise that anybody has any interest in what I have to say. So just thrilled I'm just so overwhelmed, and thank you.
You're welcome. And we're on part 2. We're talking about your wedding, which I thought was gorgeous and beautiful and amazing. But I know that there's a duality of being a vendor as well as being a bride or a groom, because we're going to talk about the groom too. And I want to kind of start with, now that you've been a bride yourself, what surprised you most about the experience of being a bride versus having been a wedding vendor?
Well, I'm definitely more comfortable as a wedding florist. I'm very, okay. It was a relief to be able to go in and out of modes.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have enjoyed the experience if I were only a bride. Being able to switch off the bride brain and on the floral brain, I think really kept me sane, but also kept me feeling more authentically like myself.
Yeah.
There was a lot that was really surprising, and I think probably the biggest surprise of all was that I was surprised because
yeah. Industry.
I didn't think I knew all of it, but I thought I knew most of it.
Yeah.
And, I've been doing weddings now about 10 years. And I feel like as our company has grown, I feel like I've learned more about bigger productions and different types of productions. And of course, I don't think that I know, intimately every vendor's element, but I have a good overall idea. And I think what logistically and what emotionally you learn are 2 very different things. Understanding, what feelings come up and what compromises end up being made that you would never have known from just a professional standpoint, I think was the biggest shock.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Well, you probably went into this knowing what mattered most to you as a vendor, because you deal with that every time you have a wedding.
Yes. Can I tell you what it is?
Oh, yes.
It was most important for me going into this as a vendor that all of the other vendors had an enjoyable experience as well.
Oh,
I completely know what it's like to feel underappreciated or to feel rushed or stressed or to feel, that kind of energy that's just uncomfortable and makes the working environment feel unpleasant. And that really is the difference. I mean, all of us, as really any worker anywhere, but especially as a small business owner, a good couple can make all the difference in not just that one weekend, but everyday life. I know I talked before about the experience for the couple, how really a wedding isn't just one day. It's every day leading up to that day. It's the same for me as your florist. My experience with you is not just wedding day. It's every day leading up. So to make sure that we were communicative, that we were honest, that we were open, that everybody was treated with respect at all times as professionals. And of course, that week when everybody was installing, to make sure that it was as fun as possible. We catered it. We catered it the entire week for all of the vendors, and just making sure that they all felt heard, valued, and appreciated was really the priority when we started planning.
Yeah. So you said that that's what mattered, most for you as a vendor. Do you feel like as a bride, what about that experience to you mattered most going through the whole process of planning your wedding?
I think that's it.
That's it. Yeah, really.
Vendor. Yeah, because I think I don't think I could separate myself at that point.
Yeah.
At that particular junction, I have such a good understanding of, how it's more than that one day.
Yeah.
So for me, how can I cultivate this experience for the year of my engagement so that it's pleasant for everybody as possible?
Yeah.
Which probably could have stood to be a little bit more selfish, but you live and you learn.
Yeah.
And just making sure that, the environment that we were all existing in was one that I would be proud of.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes sense. Both of us as wedding vendors have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of productions, wedding day, eating in the supply closet, the snack that you brought that has been melted because it's hot outside, all the way to being really blessed to have been given a 3-course meal when it wasn't expected. And so that's not something that we really, I mean, I'm here to do my job. I'm here to show up for the couple and for the vendors that I'm working with. And I know your quality of work and what you do as well. But just if you're watching and you're not in the industry, know that that's not always the case. Like it's a wide spectrum of what can happen.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I think just, making sure that everybody felt valued and respected, which you would think would be like a very basic, like a very basic, sort of starting point. But, appreciation goes a long way. And I think understanding that everybody who was working on that wedding cared very deeply about it. This is not a job that any of us, I think, feel disconnected from.
Yeah.
Everybody feels it's a very special moment. It's intimate. It's important. It's highly remembered and documented. So I think all of us, every vendor on your team is acutely aware of that.
Yes.
And the appreciation, making sure that they felt appreciated was, because I know that they're not really just giving your skill, Meredith, you're not really just giving them pictures. You're giving them an overall experience. You're giving them your care and attention and expertise and a bunch of really great pictures.
Yeah.
But you're almost giving like a piece of your heart too.
It is. And
don't know if that's like cheesy or weird, but
no, we'll be cheesy. Cheesy is fine. We're in the industry.
So yeah, and making sure that they know that I know what it's like to give that much of yourself to something.
I love that you thought through that and were intentional about that for your day. And when you think about, being in the wedding industry, do you feel like it made the planning process harder or easier? We talked a little bit earlier about selecting vendors. So how do you feel like that felt just behind the scenes of like having to make decisions?
I think it balanced out. There were definitely pros and definitely cons.
Yeah.
The pros was that it was really easy to vet vendors and to know what we were looking for and what was important to us. And it was really, really easy to be communicative about what we wanted. We know how to talk to them, and I know how to explain myself and my vision, because my job is to capture other couples' visions and make sure that I can explain it back to them so they feel confident in me. So explaining my own was quite easy. I do think that there's an element of knowing a little too much.
Yeah.
We know too much.
We do.
Ignorance is bliss. And there are certain things that are unavoidable no matter how much you know. You cannot negotiate your way out of accidentally spending a little too much money.
But was that you, or was that, let's talk about that for a second. Hold on. We were talking before we hit record. Was that you, or was that your significant other?
I think that credit goes to my husband, Devin. I love him dearly, and he gave us an absolutely spectacular wedding. If it were entirely up to me, we probably would have been married in a Pizza Hut, and I would have had probably still 4 dress changes and a bouquet that trailed behind me. But everybody would be eating, pepperoni or cheese. So I think that everybody who attended this wedding has him to thank. And it's so funny because I think I sort of went into the planning with him thinking that we might have creative differences. And I can absolutely assure you and everybody that there was not one creative decision that we weren't aligned on, but plenty of budget decisions we weren't. Which I just didn't foresee myself being in that situation.
Yeah.
But compromise is the foundation of a beautiful wedding and a great marriage.
For those that don't know, tell us a little bit about your groom. Is he in the industry? Is he not in the wedding industry?
He is a heavy hitter in tents and rentals. He owns Amazing Event Rentals. He's been working there for more than half his life, since he was 16, and he became the owner in 2018, which is the same year I started my business. His experience absolutely astounds me. His confidence and his adaptability, how he can read situations and just sort of know what they need to be the best possible scenario for any given situation, which probably comes with tents.
Yeah.
That's really the definition of a tent.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
And he knows the half of wedding planning and design that maybe I'm not as familiar with, like lighting and AV, things that really are more structural and power based that of course kind of line up with his skill set. And then I can sort of bring a little bit more, maybe into the floral and some of the softness. So we're a good match.
Yeah. Wedding powerhouse. Love it. So what did you notice as a bride that you never noticed as a vendor? Or do you feel like because you kind of worked in the industry that wasn't really something surprising?
I think that the way that Jardiniere treats their brides is very much like they are the priority above all else.
Yeah.
I really don't care who's paying the bill or signing the contract. I care about the bride.
Yeah.
And I will do whatever it takes as your floral designer to make sure that your voice is heard and amplified and the most important one in the room. And I got all different kinds of tricks of the trade to make that happen. I don't think that every experience that I went in as a bride made me feel that way. Okay. There were plenty of experiences that I had as a bride where I felt like I was not the most important person in the room by a long shot, which is fine. Everybody runs their business differently and everybody has different, priorities and needs different things. But I guess because I've always put such a heavy emphasis on being bride centric, I've sort of expected a little bit more of that. But at the end of the day, the wedding it's really not about me. It's about Devin and I's love story and our families. Yeah. So kind of shifting the focus maybe, to that is not a bad thing. It's just different from the decisions that I make as a business owner.
Yeah. And maybe reemphasizes why you do what you do.
Yeah. It does. Why it's so important to me. I know I keep going back to experience, like what the experience is. It's just really important to me, especially it was important to me before I went through it myself. And I look back because I did start my business when I was 25. And I think I'm very, I hope I can say this, but I'm like proud of myself because how did a 25-year-old know that it was so important that to make sure that every conversation they had with you, they felt seen and valued and excited. And I don't know how at that age I was able to do that, but, and I just assumed everybody else was that way. So kind of put it into perspective what Jardiniere does really well. And that was a very pleasant surprise.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. So let's kind of move into advice because I'm sure there are couples that are watching this as well as some vendors maybe, but what would you tell brides who are in the middle of planning right now? What did they need to know, or grooms, what they need to know right now?
Absolutely. I would suggest that you protect your peace, manage your expectations.
Yeah.
Just of what the experience should be, how you should be feeling, how you should be behaving, what it should be looking like, what you should be spending, all of that stuff. It weighs you down. It weighs everybody down, no matter what. So I would absolutely suggest to slow down your thought process, be more accepting and kind to yourself where you are. And whatever big feelings you're experiencing, you're entitled to them. It's okay. The bridezilla is a complete myth. I've never, ever in my life met one, and we've done over 500 brides. So instead of judging yourself so harshly and feeling like you need to be something or behave a certain way or do something, just accept where you are, appreciate it, and give yourself some grace. I am as your florist, I assure you. If you want to ask me the same question 3 times, I'm in. Like, I'm down. Whatever you need, girl.
Love it.
So be kind to yourself.
Love that. So as we wrap this up, what made your wedding feel most like you?
It wasn't Pizza Hut, but we did split our wedding into 2 days.
Okay.
So we had a small family-only ceremony on Friday in the May River Chapel at Palmetto Bluff. And then we immediately went into a cocktail hour and a party the following day with no second ceremony. After the ceremony on Friday, we went over to the Farm, a restaurant in Bluffton, where Devin and I have had our first date and every anniversary date and every birthday since then. It's a really important space to us. And to keep that small, in the midst of what was feeling like such an overwhelmingly large wedding and production really grounded me and made me feel, it just made it very apparent to me that it was about us.
Yeah.
Because for that moment with 40 people in the church and way more flowers than people, that was probably the most authentically me and him. And my brother was the officiant, you know, and when the wedding video comes out, it's going to be quite hilarious because Devin and I spoke the entire ceremony. We didn't exchange vows, but we had a conversation up there
I love
for
it.
everyone to hear. So it was extremely non-traditional. And we walked each other down the aisle.
Yes.
What about that? That was 100% us. We said, we put this together. I know what it looks like in there. I've seen you running around all day in this tent. There's no first look. There was, but like not really. So why not just go in together? It's our work. It's our story. It's our love. So walking each other down the aisle was highly recommend. Highly recommend.
That. You gave yourself permission to make your own traditions for this. I love that.
Absolutely. Such an eloquent way to put it.
Yeah. So now we've alluded to dress changes, outfit changes. And as we transition into our third portion in just a minute, as we close this out, how many outfit changes between day 1 and day 2 did you have?
I wore 4 dresses, which sounds way less reasonable than it was in reality.
It was 2 days.
It was 2 days. One change per day.
Right.
I had, for the ceremony, I wanted to be more conservative because it was in the chapel. I am not religious at all, but I felt like that was more aesthetically appropriate for the space. And there are people who were religious in attendance. It was a very, very 1960s inspired coat dress. Priscilla Presley, big inspiration, Bianca Jagger, Sharon Tate, definitely that was the vibe. But of course, a coat dress is not really something that you want to be in all night. So switched to like a little silk slip dress for dinner at the farm, which was much more comfortable and easy to move around and felt a little bit less formal. On wedding day, I had this gorgeous, creamy peach corseted gown, with a big train. And that was perfect to kind of announce and welcome guests to the wedding. Of course, not so perfect to eat in. As mentioned, the whole back was corseted and I had to be cut out of it, which, it was beautiful. The photos are beautiful and it was a beautiful moment, but also it was a relief to switch into something a little bit more breathable to dance in.
Yeah.
I'm not a little white dress girl. I tried on one little white dress and knew right away that ain't it. It's just not me. It's not, really, white isn't me at all. When you've done hundreds of weddings and you've seen hundreds of dresses, what am I going to wear that's going to make this day feel like my wedding day instead of just another wedding day, just another Saturday? So to switch into like a big poofy pink ball gown with like long black velvet opera gloves, that's me. I'm
fabulous.
I'm the drama. I'm not drama as a person. I am the drama. If I'm going to be the bride and everyone's going to watch me, we're going to give them something to look at, give them a show.
I love that. That's awesome. Okay. So we're going to talk more about that in our third and final episode for this interview. So stick around, make sure to listen. And thank you so much for sharing about your wedding day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love it.